Morning, Mark.
Hello, Sully.
What's happening, buddy?
How we doing?
Good, man. Good, man.
Drinking my morning coffee here.
Yeah.
Taking cold showers.
Are you a pumpkin spice kind of guy?
Am I? No. Black coffee. That's it.
Oh, you're old school.
If you take longer than 5 seconds to order your coffee in line at the coffee shop, you're my arch nemesis. It should be a black coffee.
So you're a little bit of a tough guy to figure out. You're kind of Clint Eastwood in that you're drinking the black coffee, but then you wear the salmon pants. You know.
Well, here's the thing, Sully. Here's the thing, man. It's about style and substance.
There you go.
You got to put them together. And the coffee gives me the substance that I need to keep going, and the pants give me the style.
So you got the Clint Eastwood tough guy edge and the Daniel Craig style. Is that it?
Sure. We'll go with that. I mean, I'll spend a week thinking about a couple other figures. Maybe I'll pitch them to you next week if you have me back on. But we'll go with that for now.
Now, you were at a pretty good game last night, Cherry Hill West, with a big overtime win over Camden, which took care of Cedar Creek last week. Who was your hats-off player last night?
Nick DiPietro, junior running back for Cherry Hill West, had a 74-yard touchdown early on, and then scored from a yard out in overtime for the game-winning score. And Nick is a baseball player. Recruiting interest from LaSalle, Villanova, some places like that. I think he wasn't sure of the number, and I don't cover baseball. So I think he said he stole probably around 25 to 30 bases last season. So kid's fast, had a couple nice runs, and was really something that Cherry Hill West could rely on last night. It was very good, and they were up 16 early in the third quarter, and kind of got away from the run game, in my opinion, a little too much. Then it caused them some problems. Camden stormed back, tied the game, went to overtime, and when West got the ball in overtime, they ran the same play 5 times to DiPietro, and won the game. So they got back to what they had done to establish that success. So, yes, it was a very good game. Unbelievable.
Now, for all our fans out there that don't know, Mark is known to wear a nice fedora out to these football games, and after the game, he takes his hat off and lets the player of the game wear the hat, takes a little photo for his Twitter account. Mark, you got to get these guys in some more cool poses with the hat.
Well, here's the thing. Some of them, and I've mentioned this in the past, but some of them don't want to wear the hat. And I kind of got to get them on the spot, and it ends up working out fairly well. But there's not much, if somebody doesn't want to wear it or they're a little unsure, I can't really get too much of a pose. So to me, you give them the handshake for a good night's work. Like, here you go, pal. You really did one tonight. Let's have a handshake here. That's kind of the way I stick with it. Just keep it simple.
There you go. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about how things are shaking out in the West Jersey Football League. Who do you got your eye on as we head into first week of October is in the books now. We're looking at some teams trying to make some runs at the playoffs. Who have you seen in the last couple of weeks that's really impressed you and can maybe make a run here in October?
Well, I hate to go back to last night because I just talked about it, but I think if you look at Cherry Hill West, and officially Cherry Hill High School West, something very special is going on over there for the purple and white. Cherry Hill West had not gone 4-0 since 1967. Okay, and now they're 5-0. They just beat Camden, who to a man they would admit that's the best team that they've played. They beat them in overtime, and it was a game where, like I said, you get up and then you don't execute great, and you end up having to find a way to win in overtime. Had to have a couple really big defensive stands at the end. So they're a team that we knew they had the talent to win, but in a tight game against a good opponent, as we saw last night, they're learning how to continue to win. especially when it matters most. So 5-0 now, Cherry Hill West. They're going to have Winslow, and they're going to have Sterling. Nothing against those two programs, but I would expect them to be 7-0 when they play Camden Catholic to close the quote-unquote regular season. I mean, without the Cherry Bowl or the Cherry Hill game against East. So that's the team I'm looking at. And there's a couple others. I want to see Cherokee. Big win against Hamilton. I expect they're going to keep on rolling. I'd like to see what Shawnee's going to do against Camden Catholic. Shawnee, I have not seen them. Looking at their box scores, it's a little bit puzzling at times because I think some of the teams that they faced, I've probably picked in the paper for them to beat by a larger margin than they end up winning by. But I want to see them. This is the time of year right now where I don't want to say things are going to start to separate, but we are going to see who really has the legs to do it all. And, Cherry Hill West, to me, I don't want to say I was skeptical, but when a program hasn't done it consistently year in, year out, you're going to wait and see approach. Well, I waited and I saw last night, and I'll tell you this, Cherry Hill West is a pretty darn good football team.
Talk with Mark Trible of the Courier-Post. Mark, we've gotten through the first month of the season, and some of these teams have been a little banged up. Is there a team maybe that's flying under the radar a little bit that had some tough early losses that can maybe turn things around here and maybe surprise some people in October?
Well, I'm sure there is. Let me think about who that team might be. I think
my curveball's on today, Billy.
Let me tell you something, man. This is like a Tim Lincecum old school curveball. This is 12-6 right here. My knees are buckling. My legs are shaking. I need a seatbelt, Sully. Let's see here. Who has some injuries? Well,
I mean, you had a team like Pennsville that had a tough loss against St. Joe. That might be a team to watch. That's a tough team to beat is St. Joe, and they came up a little bit short, but they're a team that's traditionally strong down there in Salem County. Yeah,
well, I saw them last week, and I'm not worried about them at all. I mean, they could have won that game against St. Joe, and I think both coaches would tell you either team could have won the game. I think it was fairly evenly matched. And I have no worries about Pennsville. They beat Clayton, who they beat last year in the Group 1 South Championship. They beat them again last night. So Pennsville, no concerns there. That's a team that, in my opinion, is in the driver's seat in Group 1. Now, another team that I would consider for this, and I'm touching back on them here, but I want to see. And you mentioned St. Joe. That's a team I want to see. I mean, they guys still got to play Prep, which I'm interested to see how they can hang in there against Prep. And also Hamilton. Lost their quarterback for the year. He's a fantastic player. I mean, that's a big blow. They still made it happen for a couple of weeks there. And last night, of course, Cherokee, you're playing a tough team off a bye that really needed the win. But from here, what does Hamilton do? They're in a spot where they had a big injury, and they're going to have to play without Malachi Winters, unfortunately, for the Blue Devils. So let's see kind of how they can get their legs down the stretch, or if they peter out. So, Hamilton and St. Joe, let's keep eyes over there, over by the Blueberry Capital.
Talking with Mark Trible of the Courier-Post. Mark, before we let you go, what's it going to take to get Kevin Minnick maybe in a sweater vest, maybe a Kenneth Cole jacket, something like that?
Well, that's a good question, Sully. I think it's going to take I think the Courier-Post is going to have to seriously evaluate Kevin's contract and perhaps add some type of bylaw into it that requires it. Or, I'm sure that there is a substantial sum of money somewhere that would agree with Kevin's appetite. Now, Kevin, we don't dress. It's funny because we don't look the same. We're very different people. But I tell you what, I couldn't ask for a better colleague to work with. We get along great. We talk all the time and relay our thoughts about what's going on in high school sports. He's been, for someone who's not from this area, Kevin's really been fantastic to me in terms of kind of showing me the ropes in South Jersey. So, if he doesn't want to wear a sweater or tie or fedora, that's okay. I could deal with that as long as he keeps, helping me out.
Cole and I were talking last week. Cole, who was the guy you were telling was wearing the salmon pants on ESPN?
Marty Smith.
Marty Smith, who does some college football. He was rocking the salmon pants.
Well, Marty Smith, and I'll be brief on this. Marty Smith is from. I'm not sure if he's from Virginia or not. I think he is, which I am, and he's a huge Virginia Tech fan. As am I. I went there, so good things seem to align with the Hokies. Salmon pants, maybe it's a Hokies thing. Who knows?
Maybe. Good stuff, Mark. As always, we'll catch up with you throughout the season, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you too, Sully. Thanks.
All right, that was Mark Trible of the Courier-Post.